let's come back to you, Debbie, and what's happening for the NHS in the future then?
Well, yes, thank you. I hope the first segment gave you an idea of what the NHS, well, it's in complete and utter chaos at the moment. So what are we going to do to make it better? And are we patients or are we risks? So Tony Blair has got great visions for artificial intelligence. So the NHS is going to be controlled by artificial intelligence. Let's hear what he has to say about how governments should deal with AI.
I am constantly saying to my own party, Labour Party, which will probably win this election, you've got to focus on this technology revolution. Yeah. It's not an afterthought. It's the single biggest thing that's happening in the world today that is going to change everything. Leave aside all the geopolitics and the conflicts and war and America, China, all the rest of it. This revolution is going to change everything about our society, our economy, the way we live, the way we interact with each other. And if you don't get across it, then when there is a crisis, you're going to find you've got no idea how to deal with it. I think we're living through a period of massive change, right? This is the biggest technological change since the Industrial Revolution, for sure. How do you use it to transform healthcare, education, the way government functions? I mean, this is a huge agenda for a government and a really exciting one. You know, people get a bit depressed about being in politics because you get all this criticism. People certainly in the West feel society's not changing fast enough and well enough. And I say, no, it's a really exciting time to be in politics because you've got this massive revolution that you've got to come to terms with.
And this massive revolution is taking place in the NHS. So Digital Health published that the Blair Institute was calling for a crash programme for every citizen to have a digital health record. Now, we have to combine this with the Internet of Things, the Internet of Bodies, the Internet of Medical Things, and we can see where that this is heading. But further on in the article, it does say that the aim is for all British citizens to have a digital health record within 5 years. And this is going to be moving into prevention and to preparing the NHS for an AI future. They also say that the government should commit to this within one term of Parliament. So this is going to be, when it actually does come up for debate, it's going to be pushed through and rushed through pretty quickly. Politico report that Blair dreams of AI chatbots and fewer GPs. And he's really not joking, because this week, the Blair Institute published a new paper called Preparing the NHS for the AI Era, a digital health record for every citizen. And note that the UK has a new government, which of course has a strong mandate. Of course, it's his government. And he wants to reform the NHS, I'd call it, throwing a wrecking ball at it personally. But looking at the shifts, we're looking to go from treatment to prevention, hospitals to primary and community care, and analog into digital innovation. So what does this actually mean for each and every one of us? Well, they say that the digital health record is going to become the single source of truth. Now, I'm not quite sure what they mean by that. You're going to get 111 access through your digital health record. I'll call it DHR for short. Patients with long-term conditions will be reliant on apps and digital medicine and digital health. And again, they talk about prevention. But even more worryingly, artificial intelligence will drive clinical decision-making for patients and clinicians in the UK using algorithms. Now, I don't know if you trust an algorithm or AI to make a clinical decision on you, but I'm not sure that I would. And let's remember Wes Streeting, who appointed Lord Darcy to do an investigation into the state of the NHS and to look at digital health records. Just want you to look at the diagram there, because you see provider, which is the NHS, you see patient, which is you, but then you have the third one, insurer. So let's go to look at insurer portals, because this is what the paper is showing. And it's going to give insurance companies the ability to understand the risk of each and every one of us, which is why I'm saying we're no longer patients, we're risks. So they say that the NHS should be thought of really as an insurer, but because it hasn't got the data to perform or understand a risk profile of its population, we're going to give this service to insurance companies to enable personalised treatment for each patient based on individual characteristics of risks and ill health. So if you're high risk, or if you have got severe health, then I can imagine your risk will be very high. If we look at the patient portal, this is the right to download records. Now, they'll be using a health wallet, and you'll get chat boxes and you'll get apps. And they mention Apollo there. And we did mention Apollo. We have talked about Apollo on a number of programs before. And I just want to highlight, if you want to see where India are involved and how India are collaborating with the NHS, 12th of January 2024 and 2nd of February 2024, we were talking much more about it. And if we turn our attention to Israel as well, because we've done a lot of work with the Israel UK Health Roadmap, we can see that we are now collaborating with Israel to study how we can offer our citizens a basket of goods like Israel does. So we're looking at competitions, and we're looking at 2-tier, possibly 3-tier NHS, or 3-tier health system, should I say. And of course, Blair believes that the Secretary of State should be in charge of all of this, of course. And he sets it out here saying that the Health Secretary should be the joint data controller. Here we go with that word again, controller. And they should have links with GPs, which essentially we've all got GP records. So that's a direct link. They also say that there should be public engagement, and we should deliberate about it to maintain and build public trust. I would suggest that actually, if something of this high magnitude, we should perhaps have a referendum. But how do they think they're going to do this, build the NHS into the AI of the future? So they're going to look at 4 options. The first 2 here, build from scratch, that's self-explanatory, or they're going to build from an existing secondary care infrastructure, such as the Federated Data Platform, the NHS Federated Data Platform. We've spoken a lot about that too. It's controversial. Or they're going to build out an existing primary care infrastructure, because we've all got GP records of some form, because we all have, right? Even if we've opted out and we've deregistered with our GP. And the third and fourth are to build out from an existing primary care infrastructure, because of course, again, you've got GP records, so that's easy, or scale an existing digital health record on something they've already got. But what practical steps actually should the government take? Well, they should say that they want to establish this digital health record for all citizens, which makes the NHS into a 2, possibly stroke 3-tier system, or a 3-tier health system, by using private companies and third sector organisations, which could be charities. They're going to be using wearables, and essentially the NHS is going to exist on a cloud. That's where it's going to be. So going back to shift 1 and shift 2, this is what Blair is envisaging. Shift 1, we're going from treatment to prevention. So we're all going to have a digital health assistant, all going to use AI, and they're going to use large language models like ChatGPT-5, which is due to come out, and Claude 4, which is due to come out at the end of the year. And then again, your hospital bed is going to now become your bed at home. And very briefly, the conclusions, well, it's basically, it's AI or you lose the NHS. And that's very clear what they've said there. We're going from reactive sickness to proactive health. We're going digital health record, they're saying, is the obvious solution. And just note the words there: lockstep, privacy, security, patient choice, urgent, and priority. And who put this document together? Well, it was John Hopkins. I'll just mention a few of the names that you're bound to know: the NHS Confederation, Boots, Imperial, NHS England, Amazon, Royal Mail, Tesco, AXA Insurance, Cambridge University, Oxford. And maybe in extra, I can introduce you to the AI doctor, Eureka, or I don't know if you want to do it now, Mike, but it's not just health that Tony Blair has got his fingers in every pot, because he's looking to do it with DWP as well. Let's make the whole of DWP artificial intelligence. So that's the way of the future.
Yes, so we'll just put that on screen so that everybody sees that from the big issue. Tony Blair thinks DWP should be automated by AI. That's quite incredible, the direction of travel at the moment. We will look at that little video clip in extra.